Video is intended to describe a lightblade wand named Foundation. Joining me today will be my whimsical stick figure chakra map for visual guides stimulation chakra reference, as well as leather which will be installed underneath this section of the hood after this is all fully notarized. I will go ahead and start discussing the primary blade band scaffolding seam much like this, which resembles vaguely a figure 8, as the closed loop scaffolding of the entire emanation recirculates. Starting off with the transmutation ratio seen laterally like so, running like this, also underneath the leather is the same ratio, running like so, as well as around the entire apex of what is technically the engine section. So the aspect of describing these guys in the crystalline ally comparison will of course describe the entirety of this bottom path of the figure 8 perpetual circuit. Starting off with hematite, which is a very fantastic iron-based mineral that serves very well to ground all the excess energy through the root chakra into the earth stars, into the earth meridian matrix for reprocessing, as well as taking all the excess radio energies and providing a very sturdy, strong grounding foundation for all the excess energy to ground to the earth. Joining that will be smoky quartz as a subcapacitation agent between these two right here. Smoky quartz, much like hematite, grounds all excess energy through the root into the earth stars, into the earth processing meridian matrix as well. So of course the two are developed together to be the transmutation ratio to encourage the very strong two-way connection from Mother Earth to provide a very powerful insulation of energy by strong connection to Earth for energetic two-way reprocessing or energetic dialysis, as well as being a great contingency to indeed ensure that all the other exotic frequencies do have a very strong grounding foundation to indeed make the magic real of the intended vibratory construct's output. And right here, on this rendition, there is the employment of iron pyrite, which is a very lovely iron-based mineral much like hematite with more of a yang polarity output stimulation to the solar plexus chakra, which is very, very advantageous to actually directing high-frequency energy into form and focus through intention. So that entire scaffolding, much like so, running underneath this leather as well as this side right here, and completing its circuit like so with this lateral band, would be the entirety of the transmutation ratio as the foundational scaffolding of this lightblade wand, which, like I mentioned, has many intrinsic benefits and intentional purposes of being a very good contingency to A, ground all the excess energy very strongly to the earth, to, of course, bring purification to the work field, as well as to tangibilize the entirety of the vibratory output by firmly grounding it into 3D reality. Then this primary blade band seen right here actually is a dual blade band processor of two different elements stacked together, both of extreme stability. So obviously the archetypal name of Foundation best have the stones to back that archetypal concept, hence the name is of course the idea of the crystalline vibratory output. Starting off with both sides right here is a tremendous amount of clear quartz to be the neutral accelerant of the energy, both up here. Then I'll go ahead and discuss the inner blade band first. That is truly the aspect of honoring Foundation, being that of barciated red jasper. Red jasper is the quintessential root chakra stabilizer of the mineral kingdom, so a very heavy, prominent, focused energy dose of that goes a very long way to most certainly ensure the most stabilized root chakra stimulation in the mineral kingdom available to me to make a very strong, stable foundation. Subcapacitated by clear quartz be a neutral accelerant of the energy, igniting in between the jasper and the clear quartz like so, completing its circuit to back into ground into the transmutation ratio. And the secondary blade band is that of fire agate. Fire agate is the most stabilizing fire energy in the mineral kingdom to stabilize the root, sacrum, and solar plexus in the most impeccable fire elemental stabilization available to me. So the two together are very powerful stabilization of the lower chakras in tandem, which is the whole point of having a strong foundation. So the aspect of red jasper working in tandem with fire agate makes for a very powerful dynamic stabilization of the root as a primary focus, which is obviously very much the purpose of this construct, And then, of course, to stabilize the sacrum and the solar plexus in tandem as the dramatic primary focus to be very much the in-the-body experience lightblade wand. To ensure the primary focus of the energy is strongly, most importantly, stabilizing the lower three for a very strong foundation, which of course I mentioned thrice is the prerogative of this construct's intended design to be that of a strong laboratory foundational output. So that would be the blade band scaffolding, seen like so, going into the transportation ratio, going into this lateral band of the Terra Nueva platform. So at the time of this video, many constructs of the New Earth Portal Terra Nueva are in distribution, performing admirably. And so this is a nice rendition of moss green agate, clear quartz, and moss green agate, then rutilated quartz to make a very neutral, accelerated energy of the entirety of the most stabilized green ray heart chakra stabilizer in the Mineral Kingdom, which is the foundation of the New Earth portals to, of course, have the most stabilized terrestrial stimulation while having the source energy seen right here, this flagship, kind of like a mast of a ship, if you would, of a golden healer quartz angel, which plays a very critical role for bringing in the gold-white light source energy of creation through the entire closed-loop circuit in one broadcast. So the Terra Nueva platform is very contingent on golden healer quartz to be fully functional by its intended design. So that answer is up here in this large overt angel-shaped golden healer quartz to be the source energy alignment of the terrestrial transfer. As well as with such a strong stabilized foundation device, having the stabilization of earth and fire, then having the water in a high premium is a great way to, of course, round out the full stability of the different spectrums of the terrestrial four-direction elements. So that lateral band plays an intrinsic role to be a lateral energy exhaust, if you would, to carry the current and close the circuit of the most stabilized heart chakra in tandem with the stabilization of the lower three chakras, which is the whole prerogative of this device. So that would be the entirety of the blade band scaffolding, running laterally like so, as well as over here, described quite effectively. So now I'll be getting straight into the engine section. And before I do so, obviously these are positioned but not quite installed yet to be a further, I guess as a joke I refer to as like a hood scoop. Once this video is fully concluded, this buckskin leather will be installed much like so, wrapped underneath this hood to appropriate aesthetic placement. And these will be mounted on top like so, as auxiliary circular power packs that will be, of course, like hood scoops for the main engine, having an auxiliary broadcast on top of the leather insulation. So I guess I'll go ahead and discuss those real quick. So with all that extreme concentration of stabilization of the root chakra right here, the perfect antithesis to employ would be blue lace agate. For that matter, jaspers and agates are the most stable vibrations of the elemental correspondences based on the color range emanation, as well as the earth, fire, water, wind elemental correspondence. So the employment of jaspers and agates were of the essence for having a stable foundation for this device, because this is developed to be a very stable broadcasting sequence. So the red jasper, being the premier stabilizer of the root chakra, red ray, its perfect antithesis would be blue lace agate, the most stabilizing fifth chakra stimulant, to be the perfect antithesis to the red ray and the blue ray working in tandem in one closed operating system with its own prominent badging to be basically the yin to the yang in the most stabilized octave possible. And with, of course, Yggdrasil, the world tree, being the foundational tree concept put in crystalline order, would also have the aspect of rose quartz, the very, thank goodness, common pink ray high heart divine love activation frequency as part of the foundation of this intended construct. So that'd be that hood scoop right there, which, like I mentioned, will be installed topically over the leather, which will, of course, come in time after this video is notarized. Then the other side is a rather exotic, ambitious addition. This would be the Love Currency coin commissioned into existence by Stephen Ross, the wonderful Wizard of Sedona, who I've had the privilege of augmenting this coin in vibrational engineering endeavors in many renditions at this point. And so this is another foray into adding to the morphic field and development of Stephen Ross's Love Currency Miracle Coin to have a compatible vibrational interest with the pre-existing devices in distribution. But most importantly, what the context here too with the morphic field being developed around this coin is that this being grounded into the stability foundation platform, in theory, should be quite helpful and advantageous for those participating in this joint effort energy broadcast field with beautiful messages. So right here, it says, with love, in love, and through love, which is a great aspect, of course, to be a reminder of impeccable action. And how to maintain that would be a beautiful heart, an open mind, and a humble spirit. So that would be the love currency foundation base. But around the love currency is an energetic perimeter, starting off with what I consider to be the miracle ratio, based on the full spectrum octave engagement simultaneously in one closed loop circular circuit. Starting off with clear quartz to be the neutral accelerant, into red jasper, like I mentioned, to stabilize the root chakra. Clear quartz, then into ruby, the quintessential root chakra stabilizer. Then into carnelian, the quintessential orange ray sacrum stimulant utilized in ancient Egyptian mystery schools. Then, of course, clear quartz into tiger's eye, the fantastic aligner lower three chakras. Clear quartz into peridot, the third and fourth chakra abundance stimulant, that of growth. Clear quartz into emerald, the quintessential abundance green ray heart chakra stimulant of great notoriety. Clear quartz into aquamarine, its blue ray water elemental cousin of the fourth and fifth chakra stimulation. Clear quartz into turquoise, the famous fifth chakra wholeness and harmony frequency focus of the fifth chakra. Clear quartz into blue sapphire, the fifth and sixth wind elemental stone of unsurpassed power. Clear quartz into lapis lazuli, another fifth and sixth wind elemental composition of highest truth, well notarized and utilized. Clear quartz into amethyst, the quintessential classic violet ray crown chakra stimulant. Then clear quartz then into 3 hematites to further ground the excess pitch of this energy in the perpetual circuit to, of course, encourage the tangibilization of bringing this into reality. So like I mentioned, once the leather hood is installed, these of course will be installed like so, in aesthetic fashion, to be the hood scoops of the main engine, if you would. Okay, so now it's time to get straight into the main engine. So at the very main heart of this construct seen right here is a special variety of smoky quartz called smoky elestial quartz. Like smoky quartz mentioned in the primary blade band scaffolding is a fantastic grounder of negativity by firmly grounding into the earth for reprocessing. Yet the elestial format plays a very special deviation of typical smoky quartz vibratory output by having a very, as a disclaimer, this is going to even more tinfoil hat far out conspiracy aspect, even more so than this video has been in 13 minutes based on this dissertation of this guy, because it gets quite meta and quite complex, and keeping it coherent and consolidated of the exact emanation purpose of elestial smoky quartz. Everybody and myself have been warned at this point. So the elestial structure actually works with a fantastic auto-regulation frequency buffer to work in tandem with one's highest self to ensure the highest frequency pitch is being met, or also to be quite simplistic on the subject, can work as a fantastic dimmer switch, auto-regulation, and surge protector for whoever is wielding this construct. It aligns to their auric template in a very higher self harmonious fashion, and also meets one in the middle where they're at without having a massive shift, but actually works to harmonize at equilibrium most effectively in our kingdom to auto-regulate the frequency pitch of the entire construct to the comfortability and the resonance of the wielder. Okay, I think that sums it up for for coherency's sake. I hope to God that, of course, is comprehensible to the recipient. So then right there, next to that would be Prophecy Stone, which is a very special variety of a pseudo-hematoid, which means it's related to hematite, which comes from Libyan desert. It has quite the mysterious origin, and it's called Prophecy Stone because of the gentleman who found it had a massive, unexpected prophetic vision that had a great stimulation to the 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakras, but luckily it has an iron base to it that actually grounds the energy into the tangible range, which is a prerogative of making magic real. So that's a very special high-frequency stone with very strong grounding capacities. Indeed, it is very advantageous for developing clairvoyance capacities of prophecy, hence the name of the rock. That also has metals apparently not identified our terrestrial periodic table as a fun fact, so it actually has a modulation of space metal in it, which is pretty special and very cosmic and very mysterious. Then down here, as the sub-engine, sub-heart if you would, is a very interesting specimen of smoky quartz with black tourmaline bolts in it, which makes it technically smoky tourmalated quartz. So black tourmaline is a very fantastic grounder of negativity into positivity by the black ray reprocessing capacity like smoky quartz and hematite. Yet the bands of black tourmaline inside the smoky quartz structure brings a very further intense vibrational compound interest grounding capacity of turning negativity into positivity, which of course is very advantageous for clearing the foundation of a very healthy light body field into tangibility, and most importantly, the prerogative of this device is greatest stability absolute possible through vibrational engineering. Okay, so then right here is a rather well utilized master healer in my life's work endeavors of star argonite. Star argonite is a calcite based full light body stimulant that actually stimulates the entire chakra column from top to bottom and works very quickly but very gently to clear stagnant patterns that be impeding a fully healthy, fully functional light body. Hence, its employment is quite prolific in my work for this effective modality to clear any impediments that be naturally blocking a healthy light body, of course, which translates to a healthy physical body, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, in dynamic harmony. So that's quite the master healer that I always employ for that good reason, seen right here on display. Even when the hood is covered, that will always be there as a great showcasing. Then right here is Jet. Jet is a classic black ray carbon-based transmuter of negativity into positivity, well notarized with druidic utilization for mitigating the effects of black magic in a very old school magic kind of sense. But of course, in the modern sensibility perspective, also makes for a very fantastic, of course, once again, purification by grounding to Mother Earth by taking all negatives like a charcoal filter and processing it and dispersing it from the field to firmly ground into Mother Earth for reprocessing. Now, of course, a lot of these aspects play a theme together to generate vibrational compound interest. That's why a lot of the target points will be, of course, addressing the grounding of negativity into positivity to ensure a strong, clean foundation, quite simply. Then right here is black kyanite, also seen up here in great doses against the blade face, which eventually I will get to describe the intricacies of that function. But black kyanite, in a nutshell, as I described these guys too, has been exclusively utilized in this blade to ensure that the rapid amount of energy of this entire device is always firmly grounded into the earth. So kyanites, for that matter, are the quickest bridgers of energy throughout the field and the basic energetic matrix in general. So having a heavy exclusive concentration of black kyanite is another way to ensure the all excess energy is very rapidly bridging through the root into the earth star, into the earth meridian matrix for rapid as quick possible transference, to be a very consistent surge protector of energy, to strongly encourage the grounding of all the excess energy as absolute quick as possible in the mineral kingdom, speaking wise. So they play a very critical role in energy transference and light tech in general. To, of course, ensure that the magic actually is real, is to rapidly ground the energy into earth to tangibilize the whole process. So that's why the heavy exclusive utilization of black kyanite, like I mentioned thrice, is the chief employment of energy transference to, of course, encourage a very rapid manifestation of a strong foundation. Then right here is a special stone, a variety of serpentine named infinitite. Infinitite, just like serpentine, is a very fantastic, lovely kundalini activator, but infinitite has a very special modality of actually clearing habitual stagnant patterns, particularly from the lower three chakras, and the heart, of course, and everything else, but the heavy concentration of infinitite is to decrystallize stagnant patterns that will be impeding one's foundation of comfort, safety, and abundance, so to speak. So this employment is quite critical to have a very strong full light body stimulant, yet having a very nice way to decrystallize habitual patterns that will be impeding one's authentic source foundation into earth for comfort's sake. As well as it makes for a great insulation energy to feel less frazzled from stray radial energies as well by ensuring the frequency field is firmly grounding through. It's, yes, quite a bit. Okay. So this section I'll describe in one shot because it's very relevant to the primary directive of this blade's intention, which involves the stabilization of these guys seen right here. So moss green agate right here, of course, is another dose of moss green agate to be a stabilization agent of the heart chakra. Then, just like right here, blue lace agate in a heavier dose is a great stabilizer of the 5th chakra in water elemental spectrum context. And this right here is just a lovely specimen of fire agate, much like the secondary blade band, I guess, seen right here, to be the ultimate stabilization of the earth fire of lower 3 chakras. Then right here is grape agate to be the purple ray wind elemental 6th and 7th stimulant, the most stabilization oriented violet ray generator just by the Middle Kingdom besides holly blue agate. It's a very comparable vibrational cousin to this frequency, but the whole point too of that is having the most stabilized aspects of earth, fire, water, then wind, even in a small dose right there, makes for a nice stabilization of the terrestrial 4 elements of the medicine wheel. In concept. Then of course another dose of rose quartz to be that divine love, receptivity, vibration. Okay, now we're going to swoop on this side. Okay, so right here, another dose of rose quartz once again, because obviously you can't get enough love. Everything in moderation except for love is a nice rule of thumb. Comes to vibratory classification, in my humble opinion. Okay, so once again, there is tiger's eye in a larger dose than here, for example, to be a very strong encourager of the alignment of the lower 3 chakras. Then right here is Shiva Lingam, a very special variety of stone from India that has a very powerful earth, fire, water, wind stimulation of the auric field, which thereby confers the storm energy of the entire Kundalini activation for being a very powerful pranic accelerant, and classically deified and praised from many traditions of magic. So it's a very, very powerful dose of fertility seen right here, hardwired to the entire operating system. And luckily, it already had a hole drilled in it, and I obviously would never drill a hole in a Shiva Lingam, but I made do with what I was given. And so that's a powerful dose of the entire spectrum of pranic generation of fertility. That's very foundationally amazing for a strong foundation. Then right here, behind the main engine of the smoky lustrous quartz would be a lovely big specimen of amber, which is another transmuter of negativity into positivity through more of a sunny solar plexus transmutation energy. So it's very, very advantageous for abundance and just feeling good by just taking negative vibes and turning them into positive vibes quite simply. Then right here is scolecite. Scolecite is a fantastic white ray stone, what I consider to be quintessential divinity frequency, to have a very soothing stimulation of the 6th, 7th, and non-physical chakras back to one's Godhead. So even a small dose goes along a long way of bringing a true divine peace to the foundation of this device. Then between that right here would be, actually this I'll describe right now. This is authentic handcrafted honeycomb from my neighbor bees that came from my backyard here in Mount Shasta. So having a little bit of the bee frequency right here goes a long way for that authentic magic of those sacred geometric creatures of wonders of creation, to have that energy of literally levity, because those little guys, they actually generate a frequency opposed to their power-weight ratio based on their body and their wings to generate a lift vibration, which theorized could be a probable reality of actually utilizing that frequency and application to generate lift to move large blocks of stone for certain megalithic structures. That's enough digression, but that's the idea of the B frequency here. Then right here would be black tektite, a fantastic space obsidian, which is product of nuclear meteorite impacting sand, carrying that extraterrestrial jolting to 3D creation, vaporizing the glass from the meteoric impact, to be a tremendous black ray, full light body stimulant, but luckily from the ground up to fortify the entire auric field from a strong foundation point to intensify from the ground up the entire chakra column's vibratory output threshold as a whole, but like I say, very importantly, as a foundational raising of vibration, which is very nice for equilibrium's sake. Then right next to that would be another very powerful full light body stimulant called fulgurite, which is petrified lightning, literally the power of lightning caught in sand in crystalline resonance, which is a very, very powerful full light bystream from top to bottom. Literally the power of lightning is being harnessed here to intensify the entire threshold of vibration with lightning force, as well as it being well utilized by First Nation shamans to intensify their prayers back to spirit by being in such powerful lightning force resonance. It was a classic spirit tool of shamanic output increase of manifestation. So even a small dose of that is lightning power to the whole thing. Pretty cool. Then right here would be oceanic calcite that I actually harvested myself from the ocean. That is clear calcite, which makes for a very nice, underrated, white ray, full, clear of stagnant energy from the entire body. But what makes this quite remarkable is that the tumbling of the ocean for God knows how long, hundreds, thousands, I don't know, but the point is that the indelible imprintation of the clearing capacity of the ocean has been shaped this stone to hold that vibration, which is very nice to have oceanic full clearing capacity in a very comprehensive closed-loop reactive circuit. Very useful for, of course, once again, clearing a foundation. Speaking of a stronger foundation element, this right here is a red rock from, I almost called Ruby City, Sedona, Arizona, with a very high iron matrix right here, which serves as a very powerful grounding of excess high-frequency energy into the earth. Hence, the Sedona site on the earth is quite special and was actually called the hospital by the surrounding tribes who had a truce that held on for centuries, that no one would actually occupy the territory, for they called that the hospital, to be a very powerful high-frequency healing place where people go to heal. So that high iron energy makes for a very dramatic rounder of high-frequency energy in the entire space. So even a small dose of that brings that very powerful, I guess, etheric lightning rod of healing capacity into the auric field. Okay. Then down here is a lovely specimen of green ray wonder called chrysoprase, which is a fantastic third and fourth chakra water elemental stimulant of great deep healing capacity. And that much of course, of being a great stone of altruism and just general good vibes of extreme heart-nourishing capacity, to keep it simple. Then right here would be Tibetan black quartz. This crystal is an amazing specimen that comes from Tibet, a place in the world that has virtually unrivaled spiritual discipline for several millennia of concentrated source alignment, or kind of, I guess the fun way to put it is sorcery, that has a very high ohm resonance in the entire region. So actually a crystal grown in that area would carry that indelible vibration as well, which is a very powerful stimulant of the entire chakra column, and is actually what I consider one of the great master healers I employ quite religiously too for this distinct purpose. By having a very dramatic black ray, strong grounding chord acceleration, it also works to illuminate and stimulate the entire chakra column in unison, as well as dramatically expand the higher chakras as well. So the two-way connection of bringing heaven to earth is heavily encouraged with a very ohm purification frequency that makes this crystal quite dynamic and very applicable to heavy utilization in my life's work for simply another layer of extreme etheric purification. That is where harmony wholeness is, that conduces to a very healthy frame rate of the entire human avatar, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and psychically. Okay, I think that's the gist. Make sure that I got everything on this entire engine section well notarized before I continue on. Okay, that would be everything. Okay, so moving back on to the blade face. So like I mentioned, the transmutation ratio seen right here runs up both the sides of this wooden core, which of course is oak from my lovely backyard, from a guy over here who's a buddy of mine who drops some of the trees for me right at the tip of my pen. So it comes from literally this backyard, Mount Shasta. And before I continue further too, the secondary core right here actually comes from Sedona, Arizona as well, from a juniper tree that is between Bell Rock and Courthouse Mesa, who is my best tree buddy I have in Sedona so far. So of course, in theory, that brings the wood resonances of two different power sites together one device to be a very good stable platform of that of oak, the very strong wood of legend, quite steeped in lore, also very dense atomical grain of wood, with the Sedona energy of juniper. So that combines the two frequencies of two holy sites, identically, on the earth in one vibratory closed-loop handheld wand construct. Then for the thumb engagement seen right here, which obviously is designed to have the thumb engage. Pretty self-evident when I said that. I will go ahead and employ this book to help me hold it up straight for this part of the dissertation. So right here is a lovely Lemurian clear quartz foundation for this thumb engagement, which is a very lovely spectrum of clear quartz, which works as a neutral programmable subcapacitor of energy, or just a resonance to run energy to make it indeed consciousness-assisted technology in tandem with one's magical impulses of creation. So right here is another dose of moss green agate, like mentioned a few times, to be a tremendous stabilization agent of the heart chakra. This whole prerogative of this device is heavy stabilization for a stable, strong foundation. So obviously a heart-centered heart chakra stabilizer is a great way to have a focus of the energy when engaged with, of course, when it comes to directing frequency broadcasts with intention. So that'd be the entire circuit of that guy with clear quartz as the neutral accelerant of the moss green agate to stabilize the heart chakra in tandem with Libyan gold tektite, a rather fantastic gold ray stone of great antiquity and utilization of the pharaoh cast, particularly to be utilized for high magic, and is a very powerful sacrum and solar plexus stimulant, that of very powerful fire energy with, of course, a whole golden ray of illumination stimulant for the entire chakra column. So it could be considered a gold ray dharmic accelerant of great notoriety and also intensification of manifestation of one's personal potential, who they are born to be in creation, as a highlighted focus. So the vast properties of Libyan gold tektite are quite incredible and quite amazing, but I'll go ahead and just keep on cruising because that's, I feel that's decently sufficient for this video, considering the employment of Libyan gold tektite. And so before I continue further, right here in the back of these selenites are lovely, authentic Sleeping Beauty turquoise beads I received as a gift from private stock collection. So this is a very, very beautiful, coveted, sought-after variety of turquoise that has gone out of distribution for decades now, based on the heavy mining that took place where Sleeping Beauty is from in the Southwest. So Sleeping Beauty turquoise is a very fantastic specimen of a higher copper than iron, for example. That makes it more green with other varieties of turquoise, which gives it a very sharp robin's egg blue, beautiful appearance, which of course vibrates an emanation of a very clean stimulation of the fifth chakra, concerning the aspects of earth, fire, water, and wind to be the highlight focus of a ancient grandfather ally of one's highest sovereign truth in a very even, harmonious way. So having this much, of course, red and orange, brown focus, even little doses of blue go a long way to be a very nice complementary balance to such a strong foundational device. And not to mention it being terminated behind the selenites, of course, takes the excess energy of this blue ray truth capacity and focuses it into the apex of the strands of the selenite, which of course gets redirected and recirculated for perpetual vibrational momentum in the figure 8 lightblade scaffolding for a perpetual closed loop circuit reaction. Okie dokie. So I've already discussed the black kyanites in great detail down here, but once again, they are the absolute most rapid grounders of energy in the mineral kingdom at a very autodynamic rate, which transfers the energy's primary focus as a output directive to firmly ground the excess energy output of this device into the earth for reprocessing, as another little preface of the rest of the construct's compositional design. What the heck is that? It looks like a piece of lettuce I discovered during a dissertation. Okay, so at the very end of this guy right here is quite the critical placement of more iron pyrite as a heavy concentration to be a directional focus of the energy in an iron-based solar plexus stimulant to encourage the direction of frequency current through intention, which you've already described right here about 34 minutes ago in this video. But the reason they're terminated there, of course, is to take the excess energy of this golden healer quartz and give it a directional focus through the circuitry to direct the source energy into the tangible range, which of course is conducive to the concepts of sorcery. So, having the golden healer quartz right here as the mast of the ship, if you would, which I thought was kind of cute to do when I mounted it so, is to have the angelic resonance of the gold white light source creation energy and a very prominent highlighted focus. So golden healer quartz is quite the staple of my life's work too, to be a very clean, authentic, resonant frequency alignment, that of the heart source of creation, which obviously when it comes to vibrational engineering endeavors, should be pretty self-evident of the importance of direct alignment to source, heart source energy. So yes, that's a heavy employment dose of that exact frequency, which I find to be irreplaceable in my life's work for that exact purpose, to have the direct source energy alignment that indeed puts the source in sorcery, with the focused energy of pyrite terminated at both sides to further direct and recontain this entirety of the source energy at the very mast of the ship, if you would. And to further encourage the direction of this frequency would be the focalizer crystal seen right here. So obviously running in a perpetual figure 8 with a primary wire right here serving as the main vein for all these other frequencies to be grounded into to generate vibrational compound perpetual interest. These guys, of course, are grounded into the primary wire but are independent of the blade band emanation to be the focus of the energizer, hence I call them the focalizer crystal section. Which is designed, of course, to take the excess energy when engaged, like so, and direct the current, like so, just to right to my tree buddies, for example, to have the focused energy actually have a broadcast projection. So behind the Lemurian clear quartz, which is a very lovely neutral accelerant of energy to be in resonance with the consciousness-assisted technology parameter of the wielder's impulses of magic being directed through the circuitry right here, would be the titanium auric quartz. That is actually a man-made alchemized mineral of pressure coating titanium to quartz, which is a very powerful, vivid, full rainbow light body activator that is very powerful for fortifying the entirety of the light body from top to bottom to insulate the auric field in a very high, full frequency emanation that makes it difficult for other frequencies to shift the resonance, which can be considered a frequency of titanium, could be considered a metal of heroes and heroic action, whatnot. So this, of course, makes a very strong, full energy insulation to ensure that the focused energy is quite strengthened in its vibratory broadcast. I feel like that almost half made sense. It wasn't... It's almost coherent and comprehensible, nearly. But it's very far out nonetheless, I know, of course. I take full responsibility. So, that would be that. And so, like I mentioned earlier, once this video is fully notarized with this of course will play a critical role to have many purposes besides aesthetics, which may be the last of the prerogatives. So this lovely buckskin will be wrapped around so in a very aesthetic fashion once this is completed for many purposes. So A, it's also a color therapy resonance frequency insulation, which has a very nice earthy buckskin tone to be a very nice earthy bandwidth frequency. B, it also serves as a way to insulate the excess energy of all these stones stacked in this termination sequence to further perpetuate the consolidation of the energy from the entire engine. So quite simply also, you can think of it as a way to efficiently prevent energy leaks from what is seen right here as the engine section, to further condense the focus through the blade band for more perpetual cleaner recirculation of energy, more efficiency if you would. And also C, it works to protect all these stones stacked like so. So of course it's a spirit tool, so will be wielded quite excessively, which means that all these subtle stones will also be protected from damage or falling out and running away, because indeed these are much like organs in a crystalline self-aware entity before me. So in that regard, that plays a very critical role. And also, I guess D, last but maybe least, also makes for a very nice aesthetic completion appearance, which will look like a more completed construct. But indeed is much more than just for looks, just like everything else in my life's work. So there's distinctly an absolute purpose for this entire leather installation right there. And I believe that would be the entirety of the construct notarized in great detail. So as a summary, after nearly 39.5 minutes now, the big idea of this guy is to be a very powerful foundational broadcast device, which has obviously many different elements that will stimulate the entire chakra column in unison in a very dynamic way. But the primary focus is to bring a very stable, strong longevity foundation that's very well grounded to be a very powerful grounding agent to bring the high frequency premium of a relatively complex divine frequency alignment device, most importantly, into the earth range for longevity, stability, and a strong, stable foundation, as quite simply. That's why I said foundation probably at least 12 times this video, because quite simply, when there's an intended prerogative of a vibratory construct, that is the idea of the focus of the video's dissertation. So, there we have it. That would be a lightblade wand named Foundation, and also, of course, it's quite the wide swath base, opposed to most lightblades, which are much more condensed and more sharp focus, more like a proper wand, I guess you could say, with a little smaller size. But the idea of why this is such a big, broad-sided blade, like more like akin to a hammer or Mjolnir appearance, of course, is to give it a very wide, stable swath in projection. So the foundation is very stabilized, but also very wide and earthy, and perhaps could be one of my best attempts to put the Taurine energy archetype on a vibratory output sequence to be very much a Taurus on a stick at the end of the day, quite simply. Very like Taurine construct right here, very fixed earth energy was the prerogative here, to be quite simple. So that would be it. Well, I pray that everybody has a great day, and that it's a beautiful day of foundation for all.